physical, tactile thing to do instead of being on the phone. So if you buy a Sudoku book like this, it's a great way to have something to do when you're out there in the world and not have to use your phone. Or if you are on a plane and you don't have access to the internet, this is a great option as well. So let's begin. So Sudoku has a lot to do with the numbers 1 through 9. 1 through 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the Sudoku kind of playing field is this giant grid. Giant grid made up of squares and rows and columns. As you can see, there are some thin weights to the lines as well as some thicker weights to the lines. So the objective in Sudoku is to fill each individual column with the numbers 1 through 9. Similarly, you want each row to have one instance of each number 1 through 9. So for example, in this first row, we have the numbers 1, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 7. That means we're only missing 3 numbers. Those numbers are 5, 8, and 9. And I don't know if 5 is here, or 8 is here, or 9 is here. I just know that those are the numbers that are missing because we need 1 through 9 to complete this row. But we need to rely on the other numbers in our grid to understand which numbers go here. 5, 8, or 9. For example, in this example, when we're looking at the context clues of everything else on the board, there's an 8 down here in this column, perpendicular to our row. So that means an 8 cannot go here, because that means if we did put an 8 here, there would be more than one instance of a single number 1 through 9 in this column, which we cannot have. That means in this row, this has to be 5 or 9. But we don't know which one it can be yet, because we don't have any context right now that can help us. But the point of Sudoku is to keep doing as many numbers as you can until you are sure of which number belongs in which box. So, hopefully that makes sense. It will make more sense when I start playing. But similarly to the concept of each row and each column needing to only have one of addition to each column and each row, only having one instance of each number. Each box of 9 needs to only have one instance of each number. So each box of 9. Okay. So let's begin. I feel like it will start making more sense. By the way, excuse if there are any cuts throughout this video. I'll try to make it as seamless as possible. But I live right next to a train station, so sometimes they're actually pretty quiet, but sometimes when they lay on the train horn, I will obviously need to cut that out. So the way that I like to start Sudoku is by first looking at each chunky column. So this first column of 3 columns is kind of like, for example, I would consider this like one chunky column and then 2 and so on. Because again, each box is relevant to Sudoku. So just looking at this first column of boxes, I like to go 1 through 9 and see if we have any duplicates. Because if we have any duplicates, that can give us insight as to where our next number in that sequence can go. So for example, I'm looking at 1. It looks like we don't have any other 1s in this first chunky column. So I'm going to move on to 2. It looks like there's no duplicates. Now on to number 3. We actually have something here, so let's take a look. So we have a 3 in the first column, a 3 in the second column. So that means there has to be a 3 in the third column. And since we have a 3 in this bottom box and a 3 in this middle box, the last 3 in this chunky column has to go in this final column and in the first box. Because again, we can't have a 3 in the same row as another 3. We can't have a 3 in the same box as another 3. We can't have a 3 in the same column as another 3. So, for example, even though this first box doesn't have a 3, we know it cannot go here because we already have a 3 in that column. We know that it can't go here because there's already a 3 in that column. So it has to go either here or here. And lucky for us, there is a 3 in this first row, meaning it cannot go here because again, we cannot have any repeating numbers in any rows, in any columns, in any big squares. So lucky for us, we have our first solution. The 3 has to go in this spot. So that's a great first start. Looking at 4, there's no other 4s in this chunky column. There's no other 5s in this chunky column. There's no other 6s in this chunky column. No other 7s, but there are 2 8s. And lucky for us, again, there is an 8 down here, meaning 8 in the first column, 8 in the second column, has to be in the third column, and it has to be in this bottom square. And because we know that, it can only be here or here. sevens. And again, lucky for us, we know it's not going to be in this column. It's not going to be in this column. Or we already have a 7 in this column. We already have a 7 in this column. So that means we need a 7 in this column. And lucky for us, we only have 2 options, and one of them is already not an option actually for us because there is a 7. Again, this row has already hit its quota for 7s. So that means 7 has to go right here. So now we have a 7 in each column, which is great. And then let's see, duplicates, 2 8s. We have 1 in the first column, and then 1 in the third column. So it has to be in the second or middle column in the top square. So we actually cannot solve for this one like we could for the other ones. We know where it cannot go. It cannot go here because there's already an 8 in this row. But we cannot definitively put it in the first row or the last row of this square, this big square, because we don't know for sure. There could be an 8 here, or there could be an 8 here, or I guess not there, here or here. So we don't actually have enough context yet to know where the 8 goes. So that's something we're going to have to come back to. And it looks like there's no other duplicates in this chunky column, so we're going to move to the third one. I see 2 1s, and that means it has to go, or the other one of this trio has to go in this first column. But it looks like we're also running into another issue where there's no context for anything on this side. There are no 1s to tell us whether or not we can place a 1 in these 3. So that's something we'll have to come back to and solve through other means. So the 4 in the last column, there's a 4 in the middle column, which means there has to be a 4 in the first column, and it has to be in this first square, because again, this 4 fills the quota for this square. This 4 fills the quota for this square. So it not only has to be in the first column, but also in this first square. And it looks like there's a 4 right here. So 4 cannot go there. 4 has to go here, which is great for us. Okay. It looks like there's also 2 6s. So let's see. 2 6s. Actually, this is perfect. There's literally only one place it could go. Right here. And that is because there's a 6 in this first column. There's a 6 in this last column. It has to go in the last square of this column. And there is literally only one spot it could go because there are 2 numbers already printed in this last square in this middle column. So it has to go there. And it looks like that is all of the duplicates that we have going vertically right now. After I do that, I switch to chunky rows. So I look at duplicates horizontally, and by that I mean, again, I see 2 1s. So that means it's the third one cannot be in these first 2 rows. It has to be in this last row within these 3 big squares. But it looks like I don't know where I can put it because a 1, these are the only 2 eligible spots for the 1. And we don't have enough context. A 1 could go here because there's no 1s anywhere here. But the 1 could also go here. So we don't have enough context yet. Let's see. Okay, we have It's always great when it's pretty definitive like that. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have 2 4s. We have one printed and then one that we placed earlier. Oh, and this is really great too. 4. It's in the only spot that it could be. So, pretty definitively it has to go here. Okay, I see 2 6s. And it has to be in this second box, the third 6. And it has to be in this last row. And it looks like we cannot put it here because there is a 6 in this column. And again, we can only have one number per column, or one of each number per column. So it has to go here. Great. 7, we already have 3 7s, so we don't need any more 7s. We can move on. But it doesn't actually look like there are multiple 8s or multiple 9s, so we can move on to the next chunky row, which is this chunky row. So we're basically going to be doing the same thing that we just did, but looking at different numbers within the context of this for now. Oh, sorry, I just kicked my tripod. Okay, so let's see. I only see 2 duplicates, 2 6s. And it looks like we won't be able to solve for this right now because the answer is going to be in this first square and in this middle row. But we just know it cannot go here because there is a 6 here already. But we don't have enough context to know whether it should go here or here. We don't know that much yet, so we'll have to come back to that. Okay. Sorry, I'm just straightening this. The only other duplicate we have is 8. It has to go into this square and this row because of where the other 8s are. And it looks like we can put it right here because there's already an 8 here. And there's already something here. So this is the only place that the 8 can go. Okay. What other duplicates do we have? It looks like we have, okay, we already have 3 8s, so we don't need to do that. I don't think we have any other duplicates. Yeah, I don't think we have any more. So, after doing this, I like to see the ones that I've done, if that makes sense, and see if I've unlocked anything. So I'll just do this really quickly. I added a 4 here, so now we have 2 4s in this first chunky column. But it still looks like I don't know whether it should be here or here. So I have to skip them. Let's see. 7. Oh, okay. 2 6s. So that means the third 6 of this chunky column has to go here or here. And it looks like it has to go here because there's already a 6 here, so it wouldn't be able to go there. So that's great. We unlocked something else. And sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll just quickly look and I'll say, okay, now I have 2 6s. And the last 6 of this chunky row has to be on the last row in this square. And there's only one spot left. So I'll just quickly put that there. That's obviously something I could have done later, but sometimes when I catch it as I'm doing it, I'll just do it really quickly. Okay. Next, okay, there's already 3 4s here. There's already 3 6s here. Okay. myself, where can 9 go? Where can 5 go? Obviously, they can only go into these 2 blanks. But is there any context on the grid that tells me whether or not 5 or 9 can go into what spot? Well, lucky for us, there is. We're missing a 5 and a 9. Well, there's a 9 in this row, meaning that of our 2 options, only 5 can go here. Because again, we cannot have 2 9s. We can't have 2 duplicates of any number in any given row or column. So because of that, we know that this is 9. The only reason we really know that is because it completes this grid of 9 squares. 1 through 9 has to appear at least once and only once in each square. And because 9 was the only number missing, that's the last one. So yay, we finished a square. Super exciting. Next, I'm going to look at this column. There's only 2 missing. It looks like it's the numbers. Let's say we have 1, 2. Looks like we need a 3 and we need a 7. Lucky for us, there is a 7 intersecting or perpendicular to this row, meaning that this has to be a 3. Because again, we can't have 2 duplicates. So that means this is 7 by default. So there's a column complete. Yay. And it looks like of our options left, we have rows and squares and columns that have 3 blanks. So it looks like that's what we're going to have to work with. So let's see, this one we have 1. Looks like we're missing 2. Looks like we're missing 5. And it looks like we're missing 9 of this column. So 2, 5, and 9. So, okay. So my strategy typically is I like to see, so if I'm looking at a column, I'm looking at each row for the blanks and seeing are any of the numbers that I just said present in those rows. So one of them is 2. So I'm thinking, can 2 go here? It cannot, because there's a 2 in this row already. That would mean there would be 2 in this row, which we cannot have. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, can 2 go here? It could, but there's nothing definitive telling us that it has to go there. Until we get here and we say, can 2 go here? 2 cannot go here because there's already a 2 in this row. So 2 actually has to go here. And the reason why 2 has to go here is because it cannot go here or here. So it has to default go there. If there was another blank and no 2 in this row, then it actually we wouldn't know for sure. This one is only definitive because it is the only option left. So now we're also looking for 5 and 9. Okay. There's already a 9 in this square. So the 2 options we're looking at are this empty and this empty, because we're counting the numbers in this column. And there's already a 9 in this square. And again, each number can only appear once. So this has to be 5. Because there can't be 2 9s. And so by default, this is 9. Okay. Yay. I was actually kind of nervous to do this one on video because this is an intermediate level, and the one that I did right before this was a little bit challenging, so I was afraid that I was going to struggle. And also, there's so much left over, I still might struggle, but I'm glad that at least it's starting pretty strong. Okay, so this first big square. We only have 3 blanks, so it looks kind of promising. It looks like we are missing 2, 5, and 9. And just by taking a scan. Oh, okay. So in this one, we can put the number 5 because there's already a 2 and there's already a 9 in this row. So since those cannot repeat, that means of this square, 5 has to go here because we're missing 2, 5, and 9, but 2 and 9 cannot go here. So 5 has to go there. As for the other ones, 2 and 9, we don't have enough context yet to know where 2 goes and where 9 goes because there are no duplicates here, so it's a bit unclear. Do this row. It looks like we're missing 1, 7, and 9. Okay, well, this makes it easy, so we're doing this row. 2 of the empties are in this square, and this square already has a 7. So automatically, a 7 cannot be in either of these. So by default, the 7 has to go into that first square of the row. So that's pretty helpful. Let's see. It was also 1 and 9. I said, yeah, 1 and 9. Okay, we don't have enough context to know, but at least we got one of them. That's pretty good. This is actually good. So 2 cannot go here. As you can see from this, 2 cannot go here. And 2 cannot go here because there's already a 2 in this square. So by default, the 2 has to go here. Sorry, what was it? 6 and 9 also. Same with 6. Oh, yeah, so same with 6, sorry. There's already 6 in this square, meaning it cannot go here. So by default, it has to go here. So there goes the 6. And then by default, because there's only one number left in this column, the 9 goes there. And that's pretty good because that also unlocked for us this first square. We only have 1 left, meaning we just have to count 1 through 9, and whichever one does not appear here means it goes there. And in this case, it's 9. And that also unlocks for us sideways this row. We're only missing 1. So that completes that row for us, which is great. Now, let's see. I think I want to do this square. We only have 3. Well, actually, I guess we'll just do this top row. There's only 1 left. Looks like it is the number 8. So now we only have 2 left of this square because we solved for that row. So that made it easier for us. But now let's do, I guess technically we're doing the square and the second row at the same time. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing 5 and 9. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. So even though this should be easy because we only have 2 that are not filled, we actually don't have enough information to know whether it's 5 or 9. Oh, I missed this one. There's only 1 left here, and it's a 1. So that's great. Because of that, now there's only 3 here, so maybe we can do this one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, and 7 are missing. this last square. So 3 has to go into this middle square in order to avoid duplicates. 1 and 4. Well, the 4 has to go here because again there's a 4 in this last square, so I can't duplicate it. So that's actually pretty good. That unlocked a good amount of stuff for us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 2 and 5. Oh, okay, so 5 goes here because of the 2 there, and then 2 goes here. Okay, and then let's see. 1, 4, and 9. Okay, 4 and 9 are here. 1 goes here because there's a 4 and 9 here. And so that means that this is 4 and 9. There's a 4 here, so we have to put 9 and then 4. Yay, it looks like we only have 6 more left. So this one is 1, just because that's the